Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Valiant, watching the stars through the main view screen. The massive warship moved slowly through space near the edge of the solar system. This was supposed to be a normal patrol mission. Nothing exciting. Jake had been captain for 3 years now, and most days were quiet like this. The USS Valiant was the newest and strongest ship in the human fleet. It was over 2 miles long and carried the best weapons and shields that Earth could build. The ship had 847 crew members, all trained for war. But they had never fought real aliens before. No human had ever even seen an alien. "Captain," called Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez from her station, "I'm getting some strange readings on long-range sensors." Amy was young but very good at her job. She had joined the crew 6 months ago and never missed anything important. Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of readings?" Amy pointed at her screen. "Multiple contacts, sir. Very large ones. They're coming from beyond Pluto, moving toward the inner system." Her voice sounded worried. "Sir, there are a lot of them." Jake felt his heart start beating faster. "How many contacts?" "Computer shows 200 objects, sir. Each one is about the size of our destroyer-class ships." Amy looked up at Jake with wide eyes. They're all moving together in perfect formation. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing to listen. Jake had trained for many situations, but this was not one of them. No one on Earth expected to meet aliens, especially not a whole fleet of them. "Dr. Collins, report to the bridge immediately," Jake said into his communicator. Pete Collins was the ship's science officer and the smartest person Jake knew. Dr. Collins arrived within minutes. He was a thin man with gray hair who always looked worried about something. Today he had good reason to look worried. "Show him the readings, Amy," Jake said. Dr. Collins studied the sensor data for several minutes. His face became more serious as he read. "Captain, these energy signatures don't match anything in our database. The power output from each vessel is enormous. And the way they're moving, it's too perfect. No human fleet could maintain formation like that." Jake nodded. "So we're looking at alien ships?" "Yes, sir. And they're heading directly for Earth." Dr. Collins pulled up a star chart. "At their current speed, they'll reach Mars orbit in 18 hours. The bridge crew exchanged worried looks. Everyone understood what this meant. Earth had no other ships in this area. The USS Valiant was alone, facing 200 alien vessels. Jake thought quickly. The smart thing would be to run back to Earth and warn everyone. But by the time they got there, the aliens would already be attacking. Earth's orbital defenses were strong, but not strong enough to stop 200 ships. "Amy, try to communicate with them," Jake ordered. "All frequencies, maybe they want to talk." Amy worked at her station for 10 minutes. She tried every form of communication the ship had. Radio waves, laser signals, even basic mathematical sequences. Nothing worked. "No response, sir," Amy reported. "They're completely ignoring us." Jake walked to the center of the bridge. His crew was looking at him, waiting for orders. These people trusted him to make the right choice, but what was the right choice when facing impossible odds? "Commander Turner, report to the bridge," Jake called. Lisa Turner was his weapons officer, and the best tactical mind on the ship. If anyone could figure out how to fight these aliens, it would be her. Lisa arrived quickly. She was a tall woman with short black hair and sharp eyes. She had fought in several battles against human pirates and rebels. But this was different. Jake explained the situation. Lisa studied the sensor readings and asked several questions. Finally, she looked at Jake with a grim expression. "Sir, we're badly outnumbered. 200 to 1 are not good odds." Lisa paused. "But our weapons are designed to fight multiple targets, and we don't know how strong their ships are. Maybe they're not as tough as they look." Dr. Collins shook his head. "Commander, the energy readings suggest their ships are very advanced. We should retreat and warn Earth." "If we retreat, they'll reach Earth before we do," Lisa argued. "At least here we can slow them down, give Earth time to prepare." Jake listened to both arguments. Lisa was right about one thing. Running away wouldn't save Earth. But Dr. Collins was also right about the odds. The USS Valiant was just one ship against a whole fleet. But Jake remembered his oath as a captain. His job was to protect Earth and human space. Sometimes that meant making hard choices. "All hands, this is the captain," Jake announced over the ship's communication system. "We have detected a large alien fleet moving toward Earth. We are the only ship in position to intercept them. I won't lie to you, the odds are bad, but we took an oath to protect humanity, and that's what we're going to do." The bridge crew straightened up. Jake could see the fear in their eyes, but also determination. These were good people, trained, soldiers who knew their duty. "Commander Turner, prepare all weapon systems," Jake ordered. "Dr. Collins, I want a full analysis of their ships as soon as they get closer. Amy, keep trying to communicate, but prepare for battle." "Yes, sir," they all replied. Jake returned to his captain's chair and watched the alien fleet approach. In a few hours, humanity would face its first real test against an alien enemy. Jake didn't know if his ship could win, but he knew they had to try. The USS Valiant changed course to intercept the alien fleet. Behind them, Earth continued spinning peacefully, unaware that its fate might be decided in the next few hours by 847 humans in a single warship. Jake gripped the arms of his chair and prepared for the fight of his life. The aliens were coming, and the USS Valiant would be ready for them. Fleet Commander Vextel stood in the center of his flagship's bridge, watching data flow across the living walls. The ship was alive, grown rather than built, and its organic systems pulsed with a soft green light. This was the pride of the Zethkari Empire, a vessel that had conquered dozens of worlds. Vextal was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 arms. His large black eyes could see in many different types of light. Like all Zethkari commanders, he had been bred for war and conquest. His mind was connected to every ship in the fleet through their shared consciousness. The 47th Conquest Armada had just finished enslaving 3 star systems. It was easy work. The species they found were weak and peaceful. Most surrendered after seeing the size of the Zethkari fleet. Those who fought were quickly defeated. "Commander," spoke Subleader Krelon through their mental link, "we are approaching the target system. Our scouts report a single inhabited world with primitive technology." Vextel felt satisfaction flow through his mind. Another easy conquest for the Empire. The humans, as they called themselves, had only recently learned to travel between stars. Their ships were crude metal constructions, nothing like the elegant, living vessels of the Zethkari. The Empire had been watching human transmissions for 50 years. They knew about human wars, their violence against each other, their primitive weapons. But they also saw human weaknesses, their inability to work together, their emotional decision-making, their short lifespans. "How many ships do the humans have?" Vextal asked through the mental network. "Intelligence reports fewer than 100 vessels total," came the reply from the fleet's analyst drones. "Most are exploration ships or cargo haulers. Only 20 are classified as military vessels." Vextal laughed, a sound like wind through caves. 20 military ships against his 200 conquest vessels. The humans would be enslaved within days. Their world would become another resource production center for the Empire. The Zethkari had perfected the art of conquest over thousands of years. Their living ships could repair themselves during battle. Their weapons were designed to disable rather than destroy. Slaves were more valuable than corpses. Their boarding pods could cut through any hull and deliver warrior drones directly into enemy ships. Most importantly, all Zethkari ships shared a group mind. They moved as one, thought as one, fought as one. No individual species could match their coordination and teamwork. "Commander," another voice entered his mind. "We detect a single human vessel on an intercept course." Vextal felt amusement from his sub-commanders. One ship trying to stop an entire fleet? It was either very brave or very stupid. Probably stupid. "Show me this vessel," Vextal commanded. The bridge walls changed to show the human ship approaching. It was large for a single vessel, about 2 miles long. The hull was metal and angular, very different from the smooth curves of Zethkari design. Strange projections stuck out from various points, probably weapons or sensors. Energy readings? Vextal asked. High power output, reported the analyst drones. But crude fusion reactors, not the elegant plasma cores of our ships. Their weapons appear to be simple projectile launchers and energy beams. Vextal studied the human ship with interest. It looked dangerous in the way that primitive weapons often did, brutal and direct. But it was still just one ship against 200. The humans are trying to communicate, reported the communication drones. Simple radio transmissions, mathematical sequences, even light patterns. Ignore them, Vextal ordered. We have nothing to say to future slaves. The human ship continued approaching. Vextal had to admit it showed courage. Most species ran when they saw a Zethkari fleet. These humans were different. They seemed willing to fight no matter how bad the odds. Commander, should we destroy the vessel? Asked Subleader Krelon. Vextal considered this. It would be easy to obliterate the human ship with concentrated fire from the entire fleet, but that would waste a valuable opportunity. No, he decided. We will capture it intact. I want to study their technology and question their crew. It will be useful intelligence for conquering their world. The order flowed through the fleet's shared consciousness. 200 ships adjusted their formation to surround the lone human vessel. Capture pods were prepared and boarding parties assembled. Vextal felt confident. The humans had shown courage, but courage without wisdom was just another form of stupidity. Their single ship would be overwhelmed, boarded, and captured. The crew would be taken alive for questioning before being sent to the slave worlds. Begin the encirclement, Vextal commanded. Use minimum force. I want that ship intact. The Zethkari fleet moved into position. Their living ships pulsed with anticipation, eager for battle. The formation was perfect. No single vessel could escape from the trap they were creating. Vextal watched with satisfaction as his plan unfolded. Soon he would have human prisoners to study. Their technology would be analyzed and added to the Empire's knowledge. Their world's defenses would be mapped and cataloged. The human ship was still broadcasting messages, still trying to communicate. Vextal found their desperation amusing. Did they really think words could stop the might of the Zethkari Empire? Energy spike detected from the human vessel, reported the sensor drones. They are powering weapons. Let them, Vextal laughed. Their primitive weapons cannot harm our living hulls. This will be educational for them. They will learn the futility of resistance. The human ship was now completely surrounded. 200 Zethkari vessels formed a sphere around it. Weapons, ready but set to minimum power. The capture would begin soon. Vextal felt the excitement of his fleet through their shared mind. Another species would fall to Zethkari superiority. Another world would feed the Empire's endless hunger for resources and slaves. The commander, prepared to give the order to attack. In a few minutes, the human ship would be disabled and boarded. The crew would be in chains, and the first step toward conquering Earth would be complete. But as Vextal reached out through the mental network to begin the assault, he felt something unexpected. The human ship was not afraid. Instead of the panic and desperation he expected to sense, there was something else entirely. The humans were ready to fight. The red alert klaxons filled every corridor of the USS Valiant. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair, watching 200 alien ships surround his vessel. The situation looked hopeless, but Jake felt strangely calm. This was what he had trained for his entire life. All stations report ready, sir, announced Commander Lisa Turner from the tactical station. Her hands moved quickly over the controls, targeting multiple alien vessels at once. The ship's weapons were charged and waiting. Engineering reports all systems at maximum power, called Engineer Bobby Chen from his station. Plasma cannons are hot. Quantum shields are at full strength. We're ready for whatever they throw at us. Jake nodded. Bobby was one of the best engineers in the fleet. If he said the ship was ready, then it was ready. The USS Valiant had been built for war, and today it would prove its worth. Dr. Collins, what can you tell me about their ships? Jake asked. Dr. Collins studied his sensors carefully. The hulls appear to be organic, sir. Living tissue rather than metal. That might make them easier to damage, but they could also repair themselves during battle. Noted, Jake replied. He opened a communication channel to the entire ship. All hands, this is the captain. In a few minutes, we're going to fight for the survival of humanity. I know the odds look bad, but remember your training. We are the best crew on the best ship Earth has ever built. Let's show these aliens what humans can do. The alien fleet finished forming their sphere around the USS Valiant. Jake counted exactly 200 contacts on his sensors. Each ship was about the size of a human destroyer, but there were so many of them. Sir, they're trying to jam our communications, Amy Rodriguez reported. I can barely maintain contact with Earth. Send one last message, Jake ordered. Tell them we've made contact with a hostile alien fleet. Include all sensor data. Amy's fingers flew over her controls. Message sent, sir. The alien ships began, moving closer. Jake could see their strange curved hulls through the view screen. They didn't look like any ship humans had ever built. The hulls seemed to pulse and shift, like they were alive. They're powering weapons, Lisa announced. Energy. Readings are spiking across the entire fleet. Jake took a deep breath. All hands brace for combat. Lisa, fire when ready. The battle began with a flash of light that could be seen for millions of miles. The alien fleet fired first, sending hundreds of energy beams toward the USS Valiant. The quantum shields flared as they absorbed the impact, but they held. Then the human ship returned fire. The USS Valiant's plasma cannons were designed for one purpose: to destroy enemy ships as quickly as possible. Unlike the aliens' capture weapons, human weapons were built to kill. The first volley tore through space like bolts of white-hot lightning. 12 alien ships exploded in brilliant fireballs. Their organic hulls, designed to absorb and deflect energy, simply vaporized under the massive power of human plasma weapons. Debris scattered in all directions as the shockwaves rippled through space. Direct hits, Lisa shouted with excitement. 12 confirmed kills. The alien fleet seemed stunned for a moment. Jake could imagine their surprise. They probably expected their superior numbers to overwhelm one human ship quickly. Instead, they had just lost 12 vessels in the first exchange. Keep firing, Jake ordered. Don't give them time to adapt. The USS Valiant's weapon systems were controlled by advanced artificial intelligence, but guided by human intuition and experience. The AI could calculate trajectories and target weaknesses faster than any organic mind, while human crew members provided tactical insight and creative thinking. The second volley was even more devastating. Lisa had identified weak points in the alien hull design, areas where their organic armor was thinner. The plasma bolts struck these vulnerable spots with surgical precision. 18 more alien ships died in explosions of flame and debris. Their living hulls screamed as they burned, a sound that somehow transmitted through space despite the vacuum. 30 ships down, Bobby Chen called from engineering. Our shields are holding at 90%. The aliens finally began to respond with coordinated fire. Energy beams from over 100 ships struck the USS Valiant simultaneously. The quantum shields flared brighter than a small star, but the human technology held firm. Jake watched the shield readings carefully. The alien weapons were powerful, but they were designed to disable, not destroy. The Zethkari wanted to capture ships and enslave crews, not obliterate them. That was their mistake. Return fire. Full spread, Jake commanded. The USS Valiant spun on its axis, bringing all weapons to bear on different sections of the alien fleet. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and kinetic projectiles lashed out in all directions. The ship's rotation allowed it to engage targets in a full sphere around it. More alien ships exploded. Their formation, once perfect and coordinated, began to break apart as vessels tried to avoid the deadly accurate fire from the human warship. Sir, I'm reading some kind of communication between their ships, Amy reported. It's not radio or laser. Something else entirely. Probably how they coordinate, Dr. Collins suggested. If we could disrupt it somehow. One thing at a time, Jake replied, watching another group of alien ships die under his weapons fire. Lisa, concentrate on their larger vessels. Let's see how they like losing their command ships. The USS Valiant's artificial intelligence had been analyzing the alien fleet since the battle began. It identified the largest vessels as probable command ships and flagged them as priority targets. Lisa adjusted her firing pattern accordingly. The destruction of the first alien command ship sent ripples of confusion through their entire formation. The coordinated attacks became scattered and unfocused. Ships began firing at random, hitting empty space or even each other. "Their coordination is breaking down," Dr. Collins announced with excitement. "Destroying their command vessels is disrupting their communication network." Jake smiled grimly. "Then let's destroy more command ships. All weapons focus fire on the largest targets." The USS Valiant's weapons reached out like fingers of death, finding and destroying the alien command vessels one by one. Each loss sent more chaos through the enemy fleet. Ships collided with each other as their perfect formation collapsed into confusion. In just 10 minutes of combat, over 60 alien ships had been destroyed. The space around the USS Valiant was filled with burning debris and the expanding gas clouds of vaporized organic hulls. The remaining alien vessels began to retreat, trying to escape the deadly accurate fire of the human warship. But the USS Valiant's weapons had longer range than theirs, and the ship's sensors could track them even at extreme distances. "They're running," Lisa observed with satisfaction. "Should we let them go?" Jake considered for a moment. These aliens had come to conquer Earth. They had ignored all attempts at communication. If any escaped, they might return with reinforcements. "Negative," Jake decided. "Pursue and destroy. We can't let any of them report back to wherever they came from." The USS Valiant began hunting down the fleeing alien ships like a wolf chasing scattered sheep. The human warship was faster and more maneuverable than the organic vessels, and its weapons could strike targets at incredible distances. One by one, the surviving alien ships died in brief flashes of light against the darkness of space. Fleet Commander Vextal felt terror for the first time in his long life. Through the shared consciousness of his fleet, he experienced the death of every ship, the pain of every destroyed crew. What should have been a simple capture had become a massacre. 60 of his vessels were already gone, vaporized by weapons more powerful than anything in the Empire's databases. The human ship moved through space like a predator, hunting down his fleeing vessels with ruthless efficiency. "All ships, reform defensive positions," Vextal commanded through the mental link, but the network was breaking down as command ships died. Many vessels could no longer hear his orders clearly. On the bridge of the USS Valiant, Captain Jake Morrison watched his crew work with deadly precision. This was humanity at its finest, not the peaceful explorers or merchant traders the aliens expected, but the descendants of countless warriors who had fought and died to protect their homes. "Weapons Officer Park, status report," Jake called. Danny Park looked up from his station with a grim smile. "All weapons systems operating at peak efficiency, sir. Ammunition stores at 80%. We can keep this up for hours." Jake nodded. Danny was young but had proven himself in training exercises. Today he was proving himself in real combat, and the aliens were learning why humans had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war. "Navigation Officer Murphy, keep us moving," Jake ordered. "Don't let them surround us again." Kate Murphy's hands danced over her controls. The USS Valiant spun and twisted through space, never staying in one place long enough for the alien fleet to coordinate an attack. Her unpredictable flight patterns confused the enemy's targeting systems. "Captain," Dr. Collins called from his station, "I'm analyzing the debris from destroyed alien ships. Their technology is impressive, but it's designed for the wrong kind of warfare." "Explain," Jake said while watching another group of alien ships explode under his weapons fire. "They're built for capture and control," Dr. Collins explained. "Their weapons are meant to disable ships and stun crews for enslavement. Their hulls are organic and can repair damage, but only if they survive the initial attack. They've never faced weapons designed purely for destruction." Jake understood. The aliens had conquered many species, but those species had probably been peaceful. They had never faced an enemy that wanted to kill rather than capture, destroy rather than enslave. The USS Valiant was a warship in the truest sense. Every system, Every weapon, every piece of technology was designed with one goal: to destroy enemy vessels as quickly and efficiently as possible. There were no capture weapons, no stunning devices, no systems meant to take prisoners. Humans had learned long ago that in war, mercy was often a luxury they couldn't afford. "Sir, the aliens are trying a new tactic," Commander Lisa Turner announced. "They're splitting into smaller groups, attacking from multiple directions." Jake watched the tactical display as the remaining alien ships broke into groups of 10 or 15. They were trying to overwhelm his defenses by attacking from many angles at once. It was a smart strategy against most opponents. But the USS Valiant wasn't most opponents. "Activate rotating defense grid," Jake ordered. "Show them why that won't work." The human ship's artificial intelligence had been designed by the best military minds on Earth. It could track and engage hundreds of targets simultaneously while coordinating with human intuition and creativity. The combination was devastatingly effective. Plasma bolts reached out in all directions as the ship spun on multiple axes. The USS Valiant became a sphere of deadly energy, impossible to approach from any angle. Alien ships that tried to attack from the sides found themselves targeted by weapons they couldn't see coming. "Another 15 ships destroyed," Danny Park reported with satisfaction. "The AI is predicting their movement patterns and firing where they're going to be." The alien fleet was now down to fewer than 100 vessels. Commander Vextal could feel panic spreading through the survivors. Many ships were trying to flee the battle entirely, but the human vessel was faster and had longer-range weapons. "This is impossible," Sub Leader Krellon transmitted through their failing network. "One ship cannot defeat an entire fleet." But it was happening. The human vessel moved through space like death itself, leaving a trail of destroyed alien ships in its wake. Every attempt to coordinate an attack failed as command ships were priority targets for the devastating human weapons. On the USS Valiant's bridge, Jake felt a mixture of pride and sadness. Pride in his crew and their incredible performance under impossible odds. Sadness that first contact with an alien species had to end in violence. "Amy, are you still recording everything?" Jake asked. Lieutenant Rodriguez nodded. "Every second, sir. Command will want a complete record of humanity's first space battle with aliens." "Good," Jake replied. "This needs to be studied. We need to understand how we won so decisively." Dr. Collins had been thinking about the same question. "Captain, I believe it comes down to philosophy. The aliens see warfare as a tool for conquest and control. They want to preserve what they capture. We see warfare as a means of survival and protection. We're willing to destroy completely to defend what we love." Jake considered this. "You're saying they fight to take and we fight to protect?" "Exactly. Their weapons and tactics are designed around subjugation. Ours are designed around elimination of threats. When those two approaches meet in battle, elimination wins every time." The truth of this became clear as the battle continued. Alien ships that might have survived fights against other species were being completely vaporized by human weapons. Their organic hulls evolved to heal and adapt, simply couldn't handle the raw destructive power of plasma cannons designed to penetrate any defense. "Sir, detecting energy buildup in the remaining alien vessels," Lisa announced. "They might be preparing for a suicide attack." Jake nodded grimly. Desperation often led to dangerous tactics. "All crew prepare for heavy incoming fire. Engineering divert all available power to shields." Bobby Chen's voice came over the communication system. "Already done, sir. Shields at 110% of normal capacity." The surviving alien ships, now fewer than 50, gathered into a tight formation and charged directly at the USS Valiant. They fired everything they had: energy weapons, projectiles, even some kind of corrosive spray that tried to eat through the ship's hull. The Asir quantum shields flared brilliant white as they absorbed the massive energy attack. Warning alarms sounded throughout the ship as power systems strained under the load. For a moment, Jake worried that the shields might fail, but human engineering held firm. "Shields holding at 60%, Bobby reported. "Minor damage to outer hull sections, but all critical systems operational." "Return fire," Jake ordered calmly. "End this." The USS Valiant's response was swift and final. Every weapon on the ship fired simultaneously, creating a cone of destruction that reached out toward the charging alien fleet. Plasma bolts, particle beams, and kinetic projectiles filled space with deadly energy. The alien ships vanished in a series of explosions so bright they lit up the entire battlefield. When the light faded, only expanding clouds of debris remained, where Fleet Commander Vextel and his vessels had been. Space fell silent around the USS Valiant. The silence after battle was strange and heavy. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Valiant, looking out at a field of debris that stretched for thousands of miles in every direction. 200 alien ships had entered this system. None had survived. "Damage report," Jake requested, his voice calm despite the magnitude of what had just happened. "Minor hull damage on sections 12 through 15, Engineer Bobby Chen reported. Shield generators are cycling back to full power. All weapon systems operational. 17 crew members injured during the battle, none seriously. No casualties." Jake felt a wave of relief. His people had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious without losing a single life. It seemed almost too good to be true. "Dr. Collins, begin analysis of the alien debris," Jake ordered. "I want to know everything about these ships and where they came from." Dr. Collins was already working at his station, directing the ship's sensors toward the largest pieces of wreckage. "Already on it, sir. The organic technology is fascinating. These ships were literally grown rather than built." Commander Lisa Turner was studying the tactical data from the battle. "Sir, we destroyed their entire fleet in 18 minutes. From first shot to final explosion, 18 minutes. The bridge crew exchanged amazed looks. 18 minutes to defeat 200 enemy ships. It hardly seemed possible, but the evidence was floating all around them." "How?" asked Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez. "How did we win so completely?" Jake had been wondering the same thing. "Dr. Collins, what does the debris tell us about their capabilities?" Dr. Collins pulled up his analysis on the main screen. "Their technology is actually quite advanced in some ways. The organic hulls can self-repair, their energy weapons are efficient, and their coordination systems are sophisticated. But they have critical weaknesses." "Such as?" Jake prompted. "Their entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming numbers and coordinated attacks designed to capture rather than destroy," Dr. Collins explained. "Look at these weapon signatures. They're all set to disable and stun. They've never faced an enemy that wanted to kill them." Jake nodded slowly. It made sense. The aliens had probably conquered dozens of peaceful species who surrendered rather than fight to the death. They had never encountered humanity's approach to warfare, total destruction of any threat to their survival. "There's something else," Dr. Collins continued. "I'm detecting data storage devices in some of the larger debris pieces. If we can recover and decode them, we might learn about the alien empire that sent this fleet." "Do it," Jake ordered. "Use the recovery shuttles to collect anything that might contain information." Over the next several hours, the USS Valiant's crew worked to gather intelligence from the destroyed alien fleet. What they discovered was both fascinating and horrifying. The aliens called themselves the Zethkari Empire. Their databanks contained records of over 300 conquered species across dozens of star systems. World after world had fallen to their fleets, their populations enslaved or destroyed. "Captain, you need to see this," Dr. Collins called urgently. Jake hurried to the science station where Collins was displaying translated alien records. "What am I looking at?" Jake asked. "A catalog of enslaved species," Dr. Collins replied grimly. "The Zethkari have been conquering civilizations for thousands of years. They categorize species by usefulness, some for manual labor, others for their scientific knowledge, still others for biological experiments." Jake felt sick as he read the alien records. Entire civilizations reduced to property, their people treated like livestock. It was genocide on a galactic scale. "Sir, there's more," Amy called from her station. "I've been analyzing their communication logs. This fleet wasn't just exploring. They were specifically sent to conquer Earth. They knew about us." Jake walked over to Amy's station. "What did they know?" "They've been monitoring our radio and television transmissions for over 50 years. Amy explained. They studied our wars, our technology, our psychology. They thought we would be easy to defeat because of our conflicts with each other. The irony was clear to everyone on the bridge. The aliens had seen humanity's tendency toward warfare as a weakness, not understanding that it had made humans incredibly good at fighting. There's something else, Dr. Collins announced. According to their records, the Zethkari Empire controls this entire region of the galaxy, hundreds of star systems, thousands of worlds, and now they know about Earth. Not necessarily, Commander Turner interjected. We destroyed their entire fleet. No one escaped to report back. Jake considered this. But they'll eventually send another fleet when this one doesn't return. We need to warn Earth and prepare for a larger attack. Actually, sir, I'm not sure. That's our biggest concern anymore, Dr. Collins said quietly. He pulled up a star map showing the locations of enslaved worlds throughout the region. What do you mean? Jake asked. Captain, we just proved that human military technology is superior to anything the Zethkari have encountered. One human warship destroyed an entire conquest fleet in minutes. If we can do that, imagine what Earth's full military could accomplish. The implications began to sink in. Jake looked at the map showing hundreds of enslaved worlds, millions of beings suffering under alien rule. Then he looked at his crew, 847 humans who had just achieved the impossible. You're suggesting we could liberate those worlds, Jake said slowly. More than that, Dr. Collins replied. According to these records, most enslaved species are technologically advanced but pacifistic. They surrendered to avoid destruction. If they learned that the Zethkari could be defeated, Galactic Revolution, Commander Turner finished. We could spark uprisings across the entire empire. Jake walked to the center of the bridge, thinking about everything they had learned. Humanity had always seen itself as alone in the universe, struggling to survive on one small world. Now they discovered they were surrounded by an empire of enslaved civilizations, and humans were the only species with the military capability to fight back. Set course for Earth, maximum speed, Jake ordered. We need to report what we've learned. To command. As the USS Valiant turned toward home, Jake composed his report in his mind. He would tell Earth's leaders about the alien threat, but also about the incredible opportunity. Humanity was not the primitive species the aliens expected. They were potentially the most dangerous military force the galaxy had ever seen. Captain, Amy called softly. Are we going to war? Jake looked out at the debris field one more time, thinking about the enslaved worlds marked on the alien star charts. Somewhere out there, billions of beings lived under the boot of an oppressive empire. They had probably given up hope of ever being free. Yes, Jake replied. But not the kind of war the aliens expected. We're going to free every enslaved world in this galaxy. We're going to show the universe what humans do when they find innocent people in chains. The USS Valiant jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying news that would change everything. Behind them, the debris of the Zethkari fleet continued to drift through space, the first casualty in humanity's unexpected role as galactic liberators. Earth was about to learn that they were not alone in the universe. More importantly, they were about to discover that sometimes the most dangerous species is the one that fights not for conquest, but for freedom.